Welcome to another edition of Splitting Hairs with Max and Nicky.
I'm Max.
And I'm Nicky.
And together we're
Max and Nicky.
This episode we'll be talking about poo versus poop and what we have to think about those words in describing you-know-what.
Right, in describing sort of, well, not just a bowel movement, but just kind of using it in everyday language, you know?
Well, no, I mean, when would you use it? What are you talking about?
Well, I guess, to describe a
it only
bowel
describes
movement.
one thing.
Sure, yeah, I guess so.
Okay, in any event, what we're really talking about is that we actually... So, poo versus poop.
Off the bat, we don't like the word poop. It's really cheesy. When you get down to it, it's just a cheesy word, poop.
Well, basically, we didn't like it. We don't like it, and the reason we're having this conversation is because we thought about why we don't like it, and I really prepared for this show. Because I really got into analyzing, maybe overanalyzing it. So I decided to delve in deep, and what happened was that I actually delved in deeper. And
did that sound pretty prepared? I think so.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say that.
But here's the thing is like poop, people who say poop are basically like afraid to say the word poo. And they seem like they're embarrassed to say poo, so they kind of taper it off at the end with the letter P, and they say poop instead of poo. And it's just, they may feel embarrassed, but what's more embarrassing, in my opinion, is to say poop instead of poo.
Well, basically, it seems like they're timid. They're a little bit timid about fully committing to saying poo. And sometimes they think it might be, some people think it's a little funnier to say poop, because it seems maybe a little more playful to them to say that. But really, it kind of comes off as being a little too cutesy in a way. As if they're trying to make it cutesy because they're actually embarrassed to say poo.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying? To poo, it seems as though that, they're just not, there's trepidatious about committing to saying poo.
I mean, plus poo needn't be toyed with. It's already hilarious.
Right. So if you think it's funnier to say poop, you're actually distracting from the idea of by saying poop. You actually, the fact that you're toying with the word is distracting from the idea of poo itself.
And you're not allowing yourself to open up to the hilarity of the very idea of poo itself. And the P distracts you from that.
Right.
So,
right.
Basically just, embrace it. Embrace poo.
So it's like, basically the problem is talking about the subject. It doesn't need to be rendered funny in order to approve of or validate what is being talked about.
But so, I guess it's not even that. I think people are not even trying to make it sound funny by saying poop. I think it is more along the lines of the first thing we said, which is they're too embarrassed to say poop.
No, okay. So I thought in that case, Nicky, okay, some people do use it because they think it sounds funnier, but I think you're right. Some people are timid. And on another level, though, because of that, I actually can appreciate. So, at first I thought I just disliked the usage of it all the time, but on that level, I actually kind of think, okay, I can kind of get on board only because the timidity is kind of funny itself,
I guess I don't know.
It is kind of funny, like a little, like a cute little.
No, I don't think
person,
poop is funny.
Person saying poop is kind of funny, because they're timid about it. It's like they can't, timid things. Sometimes timid people can be kind of cute and
funny.
There's
something about the word poop is kind of cheesy. Now, poo-poo or poo-poo, that's funny. I think poo-poo is funny.
Okay, yeah, but we'll get to that in a bit. I still want to first
I don't know about
expound
that.
on this because...
Get to that, what?
Well, no, the reason I want to talk about this is a little bit more is because though timidity can be funny, I think it's, and I don't think people who are using it to be funny realize this, but oftentimes people who do say poop to be funny, they're often, maybe a comic might use it or something like that. They're kind of,
when he says comic, he means like a stand-up comedian.
right. So it's like, think of like a bold, brash comic saying poop. It's kind of oxymoronic, you know? Because they're not
poop.
Right, because they're not
Fully,
fully...
poo, but poop.
Right. So like this bold, brash comic, you know, they're not able to commit, and that's kind of funny anyway. The oxymoron of itself is kind of funny. I'm just saying they're not thinking about it on that level.
I don't agree with you, actually, because in that sense, to me, they're not fully committing to the character that they're portraying on stage.
No, I know.
And saying poop demonstrates a lack of commitment.
That you're right, exactly. I know. I agree with you. I'm just saying on a personal level, this is a level they're not thinking about, maybe, but it can be seeming funny that a bold, brash guy is saying poop because they're timid, you know. But you're right. Ultimately, Nicky, you're right that.
I mean, you guys can't tell at home or in the subway or wherever you're listening to this podcast, but Max has a piece of paper in front of him with notes about what he wanted to talk about for this episode.
I really got into thinking about this subject because I just really pondered about why people use poop instead, and because really poo is all you really need, you know. And again, you know, Nicky's right. I mean, basically, I know I am looking at this paper because I did write some stuff down, basically, because saying poop, it does show, basically, someone who is actively trying to be funny by trying to be bold and brazen, by talking about such a subject as poo, by them saying poop, it shows their inability to you're right, Nicky. It shows their inability to fully commit.
I mean,
but hold on, let me just explain.
Just because you have notes in front of you doesn't mean you need to address everything on it if we already have addressed it.
No, I know, but I just wanted to really get at the point here. Basically, they're not able to fully commit to the persona they're taking on.
That's what I just said.
Hold on, and that to me shows a lack of commitment to what they're saying, right? Which is the joke.
Okay, but it's also a lack of commitment to the character they're playing on stage.
I know, but it's lack of commitment to the commitment to, and therefore the belief in the joke and the comedy that they're actually doing. Meaning, and what I mean by that is the belief that this indeed is funny, that the joke is funny.
And so you're failing the audience.
I know exactly. Why would you expect me to laugh at something that you yourself don't fully believe in?
That you as an audience member. Right. Basically,
no, not you.
If you're not going to commit to being fully brash on stage by using the word poo, and if you're not going to commit by saying the word poop, then I'm not going to commit as an audience member to you performing your set or whatever, your joke, because I feel like I've trusted you. I've believed your character, and by using the word poop, you've lost me. You know, it's like bad acting almost, or something along those lines.
You're just not committing to the character.
You're not committing to the character,
basically. And to the joke, you're not committing to. Basically, you're bringing up this subject, which is poo, which is a funny subject, right? But then. Because you're not committing to that subject, you lose the humor in it, actually. And also, the as we said before, the P is also distracting from the subject itself, which is funny, as we said before. Anyway, I did think about, though, there are a few cases that I do think poop can be used in a funny way. Triumph the Insult Comic Dog says, "For me to poop on." And that is funny, because I don't think it would work
but he's using it as a verb, not a noun.
No, Nicky, normally I still don't like it when people say poop anyway as a verb.
But the reason is because it's connecting.
I was going to say.
It's connecting two vowels.
It's a liaison. It's a liaison.
If you said for me to poo on,
it just doesn't
flow.
Doesn't
as
sound
well
phonetically
as for
good.
me to poop on.
Right. You're right. Exactly.
It's like any romance language, where, if you're speaking French, for example, there's certain words like that end in the letter S.
Okay, you don't really have to.
And you don't pronounce those S's usually at the end unless it's connecting two vowels
Right.
from the next word in the
basically, poo is funny, right? And comedy, a lot of it has to do with the way something sounds, the way you deliver it, right? And so if you say for me to poo on, it doesn't quite flow as well as saying to poop on. But when you say, if you just say, I want to go poo, as opposed to saying, or if you say I want to go poop instead of I want to go poo, you are, as we said before, you're phonetically cutting it off. You're cutting off the poo, actually. And anyway, we already described that situation.
Right.
But I also thought of another interesting idea is, sometimes poop, though, saying it can kind of go with the person's persona. Like cutting it off might go with a little kind of a sharp, like let's think of like Rich Voss, like the comic Rich Voss.
Oh.
If you said, he's sort of like...
If he said poop?
Yeah, I kind of would accept it because he's like, he has that kind of thing where he always says, stupid. It kind of goes with this short staccato kind of delivery, I think that might be kind of funny,
I guess. I guess so. I don't know. I don't even know if you would hear a comic like Rich Voss say. Maybe
he might, and I think it would be in his case.
I know, but
I think
you're just bringing up hypotheticals. That's not even like.
I know, but no, it is. I think it's.
You should. I think Rich Voss is. I think Rich Voss is funny, and I think he actually does portray this character that he does on stage very well. And so, I guess what you're saying is saying poop is so out of character that it is funny that he's saying that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just sonically, I think in his delivery style, I think saying poop actually works in his case. If he were to say it, it would work in his case better than saying poo, I think, because it seems to be more effective with his delivery style. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is here, most of the time I don't really like it when people say poop, but in certain select few cases, there's exceptions.
And it could be funny anyway.
Right. And so there's also other...
But that said...
Yeah.
It's never really wrong to say poo.
No, it's never wrong.
Mostly wrong to say poop.
Right. Well, in our opinion.
So why not just be safe and use poo, no matter what, for the most part?
Right, and it's natural. You shouldn't be embarrassed.
Put a lot of thought into it, and you've realized, nope. You know what? In this certain circumstance, poop is funnier than poo.
Right, exactly.
But I want to know that you've put a lot of thought and care into that material that you're going to be performing, whatever you want to say.
But also, just so you know, you shouldn't be embarrassed by it. It's natural. Everyone does it. And I know it's kind of a personal thing sometimes, and that's what I thought. That's why I think the timidity of it is kind of funny too.
Just think us beautiful, pristine humans produce this disgusting, vile, stinky, brown
thing. And it could be different colors too sometimes, depending on what's going on in your situation.
Maybe your situation, it might be,
But that makes it funnier too, that makes it...
not just brown.
Might be red or something like that.
If it is, by the way, please do
get that checked out. Or if it's black, then you really should get that checked out.
Well, okay, yeah.
No, that.
I know. But I suppose if it's not a shade of brown, then do go get that checked out. You know, that's you might not be in a healthy situation.
Right.
You know,
But in any event, you know, again,
50 Shades of Brown, is that's probably been done, right?
oh, I'm sure it's been done.
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
I'm sure it's been done. Anyway, some other acceptable ways of saying it, by the way, that we like to use is poo-poo. We think that might even be sometime. That's
I mean, okay, I know, again, you have your notes. We already went over that. We already said poo-poo.
no, but I
already
said
that.
we were going to go back to it. Is what I was saying.
Okay.
Well, you didn't talk about why that's funny.
Well, it just sounds funny. I mean, poo-poo, I mean, it already sounds like you're doing an accent or something. And it's like somebody with an accent saying poo. Like, instead of poo,
Right.
like, I have to go poo, I have to go poo-poo.
Right, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. But I also thought about it because you're actually giving it 2 times the humor in a way. Because you're still leaving it open, you know, it's just like, it's double time. And it kind of has a sing-songy thing going on to it, which is kind of funny. You know, repetition is a very like kind of it's an attribute of songs, you know, and it's kind of like makes me think it's funny that you're repeating it, you know.
I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, not even just the word poo, but saying you have to go number 2, that sounds funny also.
Well, I know. Okay. Well, yeah. Let me finish the case on.
Oh my God, you gotta
Let me just finish poo-poo. I also, my personal association, I kind of think of like a grandparent telling their grandkid like, "Oh, you have to go poo-poo." That's just, the idea is kind of funny to me.
I mean, our grandmother was Filipino as well, and so she had an accent. She came from the Philippines. She had an accent, and her saying "pupu," it sounded funny. You know,
it sounded funny,
like,
and it was because she wasn't.
You know,
she wasn't.
Max, you got to go pupu.
She wasn't embarrassed about that kind of stuff, or like a grandparent wouldn't be embarrassed for their kid to be, or for their grandchild to be talking about that, and so. Just on my personal association, I don't think of that as being. I just think of that as just being a funny situation to continue to use that word poo-poo in your adulthood. You know, even though that's something from you might think of when you're a child. I guess you know. Same thing goes for doo-doo. By the way, doo-doo is the same kind of situation.
I'm actually thinking of this time where when I was living in France with my homestay family. I had the stomach flu, and my homestay mom inquired about what was going on with me, and I couldn't understand what she was saying. I think she was using certain medical terms in French that I didn't understand, and she basically said, "You have to go poo," or something like that. You have to go poo, and I was like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "Oh, you have to use the loo a lot." She said the loo a lot, which was kind of
well.
funny
That's
too.
a lot of French people take their English cues from British English, you know. So they'll say loo.
But I just thought it was funny, you know. It's like this accent using the word poo as well. I mean, I think if you used the word poop, it wouldn't be as funny. But
right, yeah. In most cases, I'm just, you know, I think we've over-explained it at this point why we don't like the word poop. By the way, number 2 is a very funny one, you know.
that's what that's what I was saying is
Just assigning numbers, you know, P is number 1 and number 2 is poo.
I mean, but just saying I have to go number 2, like, it's almost as if you use that when you are embarrassed to say I have to go poo, but somehow it is funnier than poop. I mean,
It's funnier because you're fully...
That's the distinction between why the word poop is not just embarrassing, but it's cheesy. Whereas saying number 2, you are embarrassed, but it is not cheesy. It's funny.
Maybe it's because you're committed to your not your embarrassment, but you're committed to trying to be more couth, or trying to be not uncouth. You know, you're trying to be not uncouth, basically.
Okay.
You're trying to be a little bit, you know, more proper by saying number 2, and it seems more committed.
also
than
just
poop
funny-
is just kind of like this halfway. It's like both ends, on both ends.
It's also funny, the idea that we assigned numbers to sort of releasing these toxins from our bodies, or this waste from our bodies.
It's euphemistic ways of
No, I know, but it's funny that we call it number one. Like, why is P number one? It's almost as if poo should be number one because that's like more of an emergency. So like that should be the number one priority.
No, I mean P is a number.
P is a number.
That's true. By the way,
But I
let's
guess
not forget
number two.
Okay, if we were talking about real
I
emergency.
guess number two because it rhymes with poo. I mean, I
Right,
guess
number
that's
two. But also, let's not forget what a real emergency would be. Would be number three, which is diarrhea. And then there's also we kind of
You guessed
we
it,
like
diarrhea.
We kind of think of like number 4 as like constipation.
No, that's not true.
Okay, when I was growing up, which was with you, I kind of thought of basically number 1 is pee, number 2 is poo, number 3 is diarrhea, number 4 is constipation, and number 5 is just a fart.
Okay, but what about like number 6, which is kind of like constipated, sort of
Diarrhea, constipation,
basically.
Oh, I mean, I didn't think about that when I was younger.
And the variations on that,
No, I mean, there were less
variations
problems.
on a theme by number 3
Okay, whatever.
or number 2.
That's not really that funny, but
Okay.
although it is kind of funny, it's like opus number 3. I mean, anyway, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe.
Anyway, the main point of all this. Oh, just other acceptable terms, by the way. Crap. I'm down with that. Taking a dump. That's totally cool.
Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of funny ways of saying it. Dookie. I mean, that sounds funny.
I got to take a dizzle is kind of funny too. I think.
A deuce, I guess, in a way.
Well, because that's number 2.
But even like more, sort of, not as how do you say it? Not as
well, and jokingly, you can also say I like dropping the kids off at the pool. I think that's a funny one
but
too.
just not so blatant, not being blatant about it, but by hiding it through sort of trivia or some sort of like I have to take an Ellington right now,
Oh,
a
right.
Duke
Yeah,
Ellington,
we like to do that with our friend.
A Duke Ellington.
We like to do that with our friend. Yeah.
I have to take a Krzyzewski,
We like to say, or I have to take a Gene Chandler, which is basically he sings the Duke of Earl.
Right.
And
Or I have
that's
to
like
take
the Duke,
a Blue Devil, which is basically the mascot for Duke University. And Duke is kind of a, sort of a way of saying poo in a way.
Right. Or you can say, I got to
Dookie.
take a John Wayne, he's the Duke.
The Duke, yeah.
Those are all acceptable ways. I mean, we're going off topic, really.
Okay, I mean, but, the matter at hand is poo versus poop. And, what we just wanted to say is just, it's poo, not poop. Poo. Embrace it.
Commit to it. Don't be afraid. It's natural, and it's funny too.
And don't cut it off. Leave it open.
Don't cut it off. Otherwise,
open.
you're just don't cut it off because instead of you thinking by saying poop is funny, it actually just exhibits your trepidation. I think on the subject, which is already funny.
Leave it open. And
yeah,
let the poo come flowing out.
And well, I mean, Nicky, now you're just trying to get.
No, I'm
funny,
just saying, like we were talking about how certain things flow better, but
I know, but you were
this
just
way we
you were
can
trying
let
to
the
be funny
poo
when you
come
were
flowing out.
You're just. I know.
Well,
right?
I mean, no. Hey,
I mean, this is supposed to be a serious conversation on poo.
no. I mean, come on.
I know, but
serious conversation.
I know. I'm kidding.
When we're not visiting the gastroenterologist here, although I actually did a couple days ago for other reasons.
I know. I'm just kidding when I say that, but kind of not in a way because as we like to do on the show, we like to get serious about inane conversation.
Sure.
Anyway, so the final word is, use the word poo. Don't be afraid.
Not poop, poo. Thank you for listening to another episode of Splitting Hairs with Max and Nicky.
And have a good one.
Bye-bye.